What's going on, everybody? I'm AnimusJ and welcome back to the Redstone tutorial world. Today we are going to go over 5 useful redstone builds for Bedrock edition of Minecraft. So that includes Windows 10, tablets, phones, iOS, Android, the Nintendo Switch I believe is Bedrock, and then the Xbox is as well. Some of these probably will not work on PlayStation or Java edition. They will to some extent, but there might be better ways. Actually, I think most of them will. I don't know, you'll have to let me know. So number 1 is a fast ticking circuit. Now I've hooked this one up to a piston, but most of the time when you're wanting to use a fast ticking circuit, it's because you're trying to spit out a whole bunch of stuff at one time. So if I just grab a whole bunch of these and put them in there, you can see it's spitting them out super duper fast. Now this is super easy to build. All you got to do is get 2 blocks, put them next to each other, put torches on each of those blocks, and then you're going to put blocks above those torches, and then come around to the other side and you're going to put redstone across both. Now what that does is it causes double burnout torches that constantly are producing a signal. And so all you got to do is take a repeater off of one of these blocks and you will constantly have a signal. And the second useful thing, and probably one of the most useful and looked for things in Minecraft, is the T flip-flop, or toggle as it's known. So if I press this button, that light's going to turn on. If I press it again, the light's going to turn off. Now if you know how buttons work in Minecraft, if I press that on the lamp itself, it just turns on for a little while and then it loses power when the button's not pressed anymore. But with the toggle circuit, you can make it so that something is activated and then deactivated the second time around. So the way that you build this one is you're going to need a dropper facing up, and then you're going to place another dropper on top of that dropper. Then while you're facing your open dropper, you're going to place a hopper. There's a lot of poppers in this. Into the bottom dropper, and then you're going to come around the other side. You're going to put a comparator facing away, and then you do need some kind of block right there in front of your comparator, and then you can just take your output off of that right there. Place any kind of item into one of the droppers, and then actually I'm going to need that button, so we'll put that up there, and then you're going to push your button on the top dropper. Now if you're taking a redstone input into this, what you're going to have to do is use a repeater going straight into your top dropper, and that is the only way that this will work. If you try to do a repeater into it or a redstone line into it, it's not going to work, because what we're doing is we're basically bud powering this top one, so that anytime this top dropper is activated, it's going to spit the bottom item up into it as well. So if I press my button right here, you can see, there we go, it moved the button, it moved my wool from the bottom dropper into the top dropper. My comparator sees that there's something inside of here, so it puts out a signal. Now if I press it again, it's going to spit the item into the hopper, which is going to then go down into the bottom dropper and reset the circuit. There we go. And next up we have the customized pulse lengthener. So what this does is it allows you to put in as many items into these hoppers as you want in order to make a pulse really long or a lot shorter. So if I have only 2 melons in there and I press my button, we see my lamp is on, my button is cut out, but my lamp stayed on just a little bit longer than what my button normally would allow it. Now if I go and grab a stack of repeaters and I throw a stack of repeaters in there, and we'll add back in my melons up to 11. Now if I press the button, you can see my button's gonna come out, the button's out, but look, everything is still on. And that's because all of these items are slowly moving over to this hopper, and when all of them transfer over to this hopper, everything is going to reset, and that's when the lamp will finally go off. And there it goes, it finally turned off. Okay, so the way to build this, it looks complicated, but it's really not. I'll give you an aerial view of it. There is nothing underneath. and I'll show you as well really fast how to put it together. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your input block, go ahead and place that down, and that is going to be whatever your input's going to be. So in this case, we're just going to do a button. Now I'm going to do a torch off to the right hand side, and then I'm going to do redstone going away from me, and then a block with redstone on top. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 hoppers, but they're going to be facing into each other so that if I put an item into either one, it's going to go into the other one and it's going to bounce. Actually, no, it shouldn't bounce back and forth right now because I have this redstone right here. But the point is they should be facing into each other just like so. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and I'm going to put a comparator away from this hopper into that block. And then I'm going to put a repeater facing into this hopper with a spot of redstone next to this block right here. The last thing I'm going to do is take a comparator out of this right here, and that is the output where you're going to put your lamp or whatever it is that you're powering for so long, and then just click on the hopper and add as many items as you want into it. Just make sure you have enough for it to be, you can't have more than, basically you can't overflow it, otherwise it's gonna break the circuit. And next up we have the hopper minecart unloading system. So if you have some kind of a farm where you have a hopper minecart driving around picking up all of your drops for you, you're going to want a way to unload all of those things fairly consistently. So what I've done is made this little loop here where he's just bouncing back and forth, and then the moment he picks up some items, which we'll pick those up, what's going to happen is he's going to dock right here just like this. Now it doesn't look like he's over the hopper, but he is. If we look at the chest, we've got all of our rails coming through. Now as soon as he's done unloading, there we go, he kicks off and sends off again to go and get more stuff. So this one is super easy to build. All you need is a hopper with a powered rail on top of it. Then you're going to need a powered rail next to it, and this is the important part, is you have to have soul sand right here to slow him down on this upper slant. Now it's got to be like that, because if you have him coming just straight in like so, what happens is the minecart does not seat all the way against the block in order to take off again. So if I drop a whole bunch of soul sand right there, he's gonna pick it up, and then he's just gonna keep on. Okay, so there we go. Now all of this space right here, when this is done unloading, which I'm gonna go ahead and speed that up, you can see it reactivated, but it did not send him off. So by putting the powered rail there, soul sand, and then the regular rail up there on top, what that does is that enables it so that when he gets stuck there, you can see he just falls back down into that block and then sends off again. So your hopper is going to go into your chest, powered rail on top, powered rail next to that, going up to soul sand with a normal rail. And then over here is super easy. You have a comparator coming off of your hopper into a block with a torch underneath, a block above the torch, and a repeater facing into the block, and that's what's going to send off your minecart when it's ready to go again. And last but certainly not least is the item filter. So this little guy right here, what it does is allows you to filter out certain items. And so if this is my input chest and this is my excess chest, then this right here would be my chest for collecting all of my melons, and that's because that's what I've chosen for it to be right here on this hopper. So you can see there's nothing in this one right here. If I throw in a couple of melons, let's put in that beetroot soup, let's put in some soul sand, the chest. Now it's going to filter through, and anything that is not a melon is going to end up here, and all of my melons will end up down here. Now how do we build this thing? It's not too complicated. It's actually fairly simple, but if you're like me, sometimes I just have a hard time remembering how it's supposed to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the chest that you want your items to be collected into, and you're going to place it down. You're going to put a hopper into the back of that, and then you're going to put a block behind there, and on top of that block you're going to put a redstone comparator facing away. Then you're going to take a hopper and you're going to sneak and place that hopper facing into that comparator. So your bottom hopper is going into your chest, your top hopper is going into your redstone comparator. Then what you're going to do is you're going to build up this kind of T shape, just like so, and add another block down there. We're going to extend this with redstone to here, and then we're going to put a repeater underneath facing towards our chest, and then we're just going to put a redstone torch under that. And what that's going to do is, as the items flow through it, it's going to detect them in this hopper, and when the amount of items increases, it's going to send the signal further, and then it's going to open that up. So the next thing that we need to do, though, in order to make it actually work, is we're going to put a line of hoppers above it. So let me just extend this out a little bit. Now here's my hopper input line going across like so. So here's my output chest at the end of the hopper line, and then the input chest is going to be right here above the first hopper in that line. And now what you're going to do is the hopper that is facing the comparator, you're going to click on it, and then you're going to put an item in each of these, and then you're going to put 41 items in the first slot. Now, one thing you can do to make this just a little bit safer, grab an anvil, take any kind of item. Now, I would make it cheap items. I'm going to go ahead and do it with these melons, and I'm going to rename them AnimusJ is the best. There we go. So now if I try to mix these with the melons, you can see I can't do it. It's not going to let me do it. So I'm going to take these melons out, and then I'm going to put these in. So now if my system gets just tons and tons and tons of melons, this will never break because they will not stack with these melons. Now, of course, because I have those in there, I don't want to ever send these through because, as you can see, yeah, we broke it. So that is it for this tutorial guide. I hope that that helped you guys out. If it did, and if you would hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And if you would subscribe, if you haven't already, then that would mean a lot to me as well. Down in the description of this video is a link to our Discord. I would love it if you joined us to just chat and hang out with us. But if you have problems building any of the things from any of my videos, or you have general questions, the Discord is the way to get answers and get help for any of those issues. So that's it for now. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm AnimusJ, and I'll see you next time.